No is a very simple word, but it can be one of the most difficult ones to say. I remember it used to be very difficult for me to say no to things or to stand up for myself and possibly create an awkward moment. And this still is difficult for me sometimes, but learning to say no to things that don't serve me has been absolutely essential in creating a more simple, balanced life. So if you sometimes feel stressed, overstimulated, overscheduled, or you're just craving a slower, simpler life, then you've come to the right place. I'm going to share 20 things to start saying no to today, so you can start saying yes to more peace of mind and a happier life. Welcome back everyone, and if you're new here, this is a place where you can get tips and inspiration for living a simpler, happier, and calmer life. Definitely feel free to hit subscribe down below if you haven't already, because I would love to see you again next week. Number 1, people who always leave you feeling worse. Some people just generally make me feel good when I'm around them. They are positive and optimistic. Maybe they help me see that I don't always have to take everything so seriously in life, and when I leave them, I always end up feeling better. I think we all know someone like this. We probably also all know someone who does the opposite for us. When we've been in their presence, we are just drained of all our energy and we just feel like going home, closing the curtains, and not doing anything else for the rest of the day. I'm not talking about someone being in a bad mood or going through a hard time. Of course, that is fine. We're all human. But I'm talking about people who are emotionally draining most or all of the time. No friendship or relationship is worth you sacrificing your mental health and well-being. So if you have people like this in your life, try saying no to them more often and spending as less time with them as possible, so you can spend your time with people who lift you up instead. Recording every aspect of your life. I feel like sometimes we might fear that we will forget certain activities or certain special moments in our lives, so we record them. We take as many pictures and videos as we can to remember them. But the irony here is that if we do this and we see the thing and we experience the thing through a camera lens, we actually forget to be fully present and experiencing the thing in the first place. I said no to this a couple of years ago, whether it is for sharing it on social media or with my friends or recording it for my work or just for recording memories. I will set aside 5 minutes to take pictures and videos, and then my rule is I will put my phone away, I'll put my camera away and actually experience and live the activity. And I noticed a big difference right away. Helping others at too great of an expense to yourself. When it comes to saying no, probably the most common and difficult one is if someone asks you for help in any way. Helping people is great, but where is the line between doing it too much and when should we say yes or when should we say no? Here is where I like to use a little trick. If someone asks me to help them with something and it will really help them out and it will only be like a relatively small effort on my part, then I will say yes. And if someone asks me to do something and it will only slightly help them out, or they have other options of asking other people, for example, but it will be a big inconvenience for me, then I say no. So ask yourself which is bigger, the amount that the other person will be helped, or the amount of time, energy, or other resources it will cost you to help the other person, and try to let that guide your answer. If it is difficult for you to say no on the spot, then try getting in the habit of always replying, "Let me think about it and I'll get back to you later today." So that gives you a little bit of time to think what you want to do and possibly also formulate your answer if it is going to be no. This was a game changer for me. Toxic productivity and hustle culture. There's a reason why I never make productivity related videos here, and that is because I don't believe that we always need to be more and more productive. So when it comes to hustle culture, toxic productivity, that is something that I have said a big fat no to. Hustle culture is the idea that working as hard as you can and always trying to accomplish more and more will provide you with a sense of purpose and worthiness. And this becomes toxic when you're sacrificing your well-being, or when you start to feel lazy or not good enough if you can't be productive. I will not let my sense of self-worth be dependent on how much I'm getting done in a day or how much grinding I do. And I will not let my sense of purpose depend on my productivity, my success, or my accomplishments. If you ask me, there is more to life than a to-do list. There is more to life than always striving to get things done and do everything while others snooze and lose. And there are ways to be productive in a very mindful way and to find success by working on things you find valuable. People on the street trying to sell you stuff. When I'm out in the city, there are certain places where I always walk by where I see people talking to people who are trying to sell them something, and it is very clear that these people are uncomfortable and that they are looking for a way to get away, but they don't want to be rude and interrupt the salesperson. I have learned a little trick. If I'm out walking somewhere and I see someone approaching me who is trying to sell me something, which is always obvious, I just walk through, I don't stop, I give them a big smile and I say, "No, thank you." It works every time. If you just give them a big smile and a firm no thank you and you don't stop to hear them out, it is very clear to them that you are not interested. And so you don't have to waste your time hearing them out and trying to find a way to politely refuse and leave. Underselling yourself. Whether it's about negotiating your salary or dumbing yourself down for the sake of others or not daring to ask for a raise when you clearly deserve one, this is a lesson that I have had to learn the hard way. And I think many people can probably relate to this. We are taught to be modest, or at least in my culture we are, and not be like a sleazy self-promoter, or we don't want to ruffle any feathers. Even as a content creator, I'm still dealing with this. I'm still learning to do this because it is scary to kind of stand up and say, this is what I'm worth. But it is a very important thing to do. So try accepting compliments with a smile and a thank you. If you are negotiating something, try coming up with arguments beforehand about why you are worth what you are worth, and try not to dumb yourself down in order to not come across as if you are bragging. Anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. If you feel that you are being pressured, you probably are being pressured. So you never have to do anything that you are not comfortable with, whatever it is. And if someone is trying to make you feel small or tell you that you are being too sensitive or that you're overreacting, or something that has been said to me a lot in my life when I was younger, je bent een muts, just take note of that and seriously consider if that person is someone that you still want to have in your life. Number 8, self-improvement. This one might be a little controversial in today's world, but I personally have grown a little tired of the whole continuous self-improvement, working on yourself, getting one step better every day, being the best version of yourself narrative. And this is something that I've personally said no to. I'm not saying that I don't want to grow or develop as a person. I do. I'm talking about the narrative where we always have to work on ourselves in order to become better or in order to become something that we are not already, which is good enough. My philosophy is that we are already good enough just as we are right now, even if we do nothing, and we can be happy and content just living our life as we are, our normal, mediocre life. So don't feel like you have to buy into this whole continuous self-improvement and working on yourself thing in order to feel like you matter, because you're already good enough right now. Needing to have everyone like you. I think I probably learned this the most when I was promoted at my job to a management level position, and the people that one week were my colleagues now suddenly had to report to me, and without feeling like I changed anything myself, I immediately noticed a really big difference in how they treated me and how they communicated with me. As someone who used to have a bit of an inferiority complex, who was shy and also bullied a little bit in school, getting people to like me used to be my top priority. But I've learned that stepping into my own power and living my life in a more genuine and authentic way, just doing what makes me happy, was much more effective in making me happy and feel good about myself than trying to get everyone else to like me, which wasn't even possible anyway. Now I can honestly say that I am genuinely okay if someone doesn't like me I also don't like everyone, and that's normal. Some people are just a good match and others are not, and they can hang out with someone they like, and I will do the same. So you can spend all day trying to please everyone around you, and there will still always be at least one person who doesn't like you. It is a race you'll never win. Shoulding all over myself. Saying I should do something to myself makes me feel stressed, pressured, and possibly like I'm failing if I didn't do that thing by the end of the day. Whereas if I say I could do something, I feel like it gives me options, it makes me feel motivated, and it makes me feel like I'm in control of what is the most important thing that I want to get done today. So I'm trying to say no to the shoulds in my life. I should be working out more, I should be working on a side hustle, I should be hanging out with my friends more, I should be feeling grateful, and I shouldn't feel sad or angry or depressed, etc. And instead I say I could. So I could do yoga today, I could go for a walk today, I could call a friend, I could clean the kitchen sink, and I just choose a few that have the highest priority for me. Those I do, I forget about the rest, I don't feel bad about it. It is a big difference. Online arguments. I have to say, most online arguments don't really make me feel like joining in. Even the negative comments that I sometimes get on my channel, they don't really affect me. But every once in a while, there is some kind of comment or argument that makes me feel so frustrated, so irritated, so annoyed that I feel like writing everything down and trying to change that person's mind, and that is when I log off and do something else. I have personally never seen an online fight between people where they were actually open to hearing each other's arguments and possibly changing their mind. It is a fight that you will never win, so definitely something to say no to, in my opinion. Just save your energy. Unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations can hold us back from the things that we most want to pursue in life. So maybe you are afraid to try things because you feel like you are not allowed to make mistakes. Or maybe you can't really enjoy something that you've been looking forward to for a long time because it doesn't quite match up to the expectations that you had beforehand. A helpful tool when it comes to unhealthy expectations towards ourselves is the double standard technique. And this means that we have to hold ourselves to the same standard as we hold others, instead of to a much higher, unattainable standard. If our friend didn't go to the gym all week because they are going through a hard time at work and they cannot motivate themselves to work out, we probably wouldn't make them feel bad about it. You know, if anything, we might offer to go with them if we feel like exercise could be helpful for their mental well-being. So this is something that we might do for others, yet we probably hold ourselves to a higher standard. People who only take and never give. There's a quote, and I don't know whose this is, that goes, "Know the difference between those who stay to feed the soil and those who come to grab the fruit." I've had a few people in my life who only called me when they needed something, who never asked me how I was doing, or if I told them it was clear that they weren't interested. If you have people like this in your life, then these could be good opportunities for you to practice saying no, because in my experience, people like this only stop asking you for things when they feel like there's nothing there for them to get out of it. Luckily, this doesn't happen to me so much anymore because it does hurt a little, but when this happened and I noticed it, I just started saying no a couple of times and I stopped reaching out myself to see what would happen, and unfortunately, I never heard from them again. They never asked me how I'm doing or invited me to hang out just to hang out, and while that definitely was a little painful, it's better to find that out so that you can spend your time with people who do care about you and who you do want to hang out with, instead of people who just want to get something out of you. Things that get in the way of your sleep. Screens before bedtime, a bedroom that is cluttered or not dark enough, caffeine too late in the day. Instead, maybe some quiet reading, stretching, slowly drinking a cup of tea with the lights down low, listening to soothing music. I love sleep. It is the absolutely most important thing that I need to feel good. And sometimes the difference between how I'm feeling when I'm going to bed and when I wake up the next day is astounding. So if there is anything that's getting in the way of me getting a good night's sleep, I will try to do my best to do something about it. Food that doesn't nurture your body. Similarly, we can also start saying no more often to food that doesn't nurture our body or that doesn't do anything for us. I don't believe in dieting. I don't believe that there are good foods and bad foods. But I do notice a big change in how I'm feeling, how healthy and happy and good I'm feeling if most of what I eat are nourishing foods. Fruits and vegetables, beans, legumes, whole grains, nuts and seeds, things that are packed with nutrients and fiber and healthy fats and all of that good stuff. And when it comes to foods that have lots of sugar, lots of salt, artificial additives, or perhaps caffeine, I try to enjoy those more as an exception. Over-explaining or justifying your choices. I used to do this all the time, but I learned that I actually don't owe anyone an explanation most of the time, and that no can be a complete sentence. There are definitely times when it's helpful to give a bit more context about why you made that decision or why you want to stop or start doing something, because that little piece of context might be the thing to help the other person understand you better and accept you for who you are. But you don't always have to defend yourself, so you don't always have to make sure that other people get why you are the way you are or why you do the things you do. As long as they make sense for you, you don't owe anyone your defense or an explanation. So I'm trying to see the difference now between when having a conversation could be helpful for both people involved and when I can just say how I feel without feeling the need to make the other person see why that is, or me over-explaining myself. Compromising your ethics or values to please others. I once went to a dairy farm of one of my friends because I didn't want to make waves and be the only person not going. The baby cows being separated from their mothers still haunt me to this day, and I didn't even have to be rude about it. I could have just said, "Thank you for the invitation, but this is not something I feel comfortable with." Compromising can be a good thing when it's about meeting each other halfway and finding a solution that works for both people involved. However, when you compromise your ethics or your values just to please someone else, I've learned that you're giving up an important part of yourself. There are certain things that I believe in so strongly that I will not compromise on them anymore. And of course, we have to be respectful of each other's beliefs and each other's values. But when it comes to my own, I've learned that I will not compromise my ethics, my integrity, and what I believe in. If you start to feel kind of like this nagging feeling that something doesn't sit right with you, try zooming in on that and seeing if maybe what you are doing is compromising on your values. And if you are, then that's definitely a good opportunity to say no. Tech interruptions, by which I mean devices that are competing for your attention. One of the best things I ever did to simplify my life, and I know I talk about this all the time, is taking charge of my own attention and turning off notifications. I almost never have my phone with me. I keep it on the phone tray and I don't install distracting apps or games. I'm not logged into my email all day. When I'm working, I try to be involved in deep work, no distractions, getting completely in the zone, full concentration, and getting the thing done. And when I'm not working, I want to either do something fun or engage in what they call deep rest. And none of these things are helped by your devices constantly begging for your attention. Waiting on others to make good on their promise. Sometimes someone might promise you to do something for you or to help you with something, and they just don't do it. I don't know why this happens. I don't believe people are doing this on purpose or that they're being malicious about making promises that they know they can't keep. Maybe it's just something that they forget because they're busy or they're not realizing that they're making you wait. But my point is that sometimes someone will promise you something that they just won't do, and if you are waiting for that person to do it, you're wasting your own time. It can be something as simple as a friend telling you that they will buy the tickets for an event that you both want to go to, and then they don't and the tickets are sold out. If you feel like you are waiting for someone else to do something for you that you could also just do yourself, then don't feel bad about doing it yourself. Or if you really do need their help, don't feel bad about reminding them or asking them for some kind of plan or a deadline, just like, when do you think you will be able to help me out? Needing to make every minute count. Just like the self-improvement one, this might be a little bit controversial, but I have started saying no to the feeling of needing to make every minute count. One of my favorite quotes is, "Time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time." There is so much pressure on us to, live every day like it's your last day on earth, to make every moment count and not be complacent and, certainly not lead a very boring, mediocre life and get out of your comfort zone and all of that stuff. Or in terms of productivity, like while your coffee machine is warming up, unload the dishwasher, don't waste time waiting for the coffee maker. This is tiring to me. French composer Debussy said it well: music is the time in between the notes. And I also believe this about life. It's the space in between the activities. It's the pauses, the time to breathe. It's to reflect and come up for air. If you ask me, life isn't about cramming it as full of things as possible, making every moment count by turning it into something productive. We need emptiness, we need space. Without space, our lives might be full, but they still feel empty. I would love to know from you which of these 20 things resonated with you the most and why. Please leave that in the comment section and I will see you there. I want to give a big thanks and shout out to my patrons who are supporting the channel. I post 2 extra videos a month over on my Patreon. There are so many already up that you can binge if you want. There are vlogs, deep dives into minimalism, personal chats, things that are going on with me, tea time chats. This is where my patrons ask me questions and send in their topic suggestions of what to talk about. If you want to help support my work and get extra videos from me while doing so, then you can always join. It is $5 a month. You can join and cancel anytime. Patreon.com/simplehappyzen. I will also leave the link in the description box down below. As always, questions, comments, conversations down below. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you again next week. Bye bye. I used my new microphone to film today's video, and I cannot wait to hear how it recorded. Let me know what you think in the comment section.